Hello everyone, and welcome to Sabrina's Crafty Corner or Sabrina's Crafty Home Decor, depending on where you're watching from. This here is a cigar box that I am painting with Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel. I get our cigar boxes from our local smoke shop. They sell them for about $3 a piece. And sometimes you can also find them at the flea market. And this is the lid to the cigar box that I painted with Burnt Umber. And now I'm going over that with Waverly Cashew just on the top. I get my Waverly chalk paints from Walmart. And then I'm using my heat tool to dry that. You can find these heat tools on Amazon. And this is Mod Podge, and I'm giving it a good coat of Mod Podge on where I painted the cashew. And this is rice paper. I usually get my rice paper from DecoupageCentral.com or DecoupageNapkins.com. And I just laid that on that wet Mod Podge, and now I used my little handheld iron and ironed it on just to iron out any wrinkles or bubbles in the paper. And I'm taking my little handheld sander here that I also got from Amazon and sanding off all the excess paper off the edges. And this is Waverly, or not Waverly, I apologize. This is dark finishing wax from Behr that I got from Home Depot, I believe. And I'm using a makeup brush that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I just love this brush for adding the antiquing. And now I'm using a Distress Oxide that I found on Amazon. The color is charcoal, I believe. And I just did around the edges just to give it a more aged look. And now I am sealing it with Mod Podge. And this is Crackle Medium by Folk Art. That I'm giving it a good even coat of the Crackle Medium. I'm using my fan brush for better coverage, and it's a very soft fan brush. And you don't want it too terribly thick, just one even thin coat. And remember, if you like my videos, please be sure to hit subscribe below and click on the bell and click on all so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. If you're watching from YouTube, if you're watching from one of my Facebook pages, please be sure to give me a like and a follow. And now I am painting, so I dried the Crackle Medium, and now I'm painting over the Crackle Medium with Waverly Cashew chalk paint. And you want to be very careful that you don't overbrush. So just one light coat of paint. If you brush it too much, it starts pulling the paint away from your project or from your surface. And you can see it's already crackling as it dries. And I just did the four sides and the top edges. This is a little drawer handle that I picked up at a flea market. I also tend to find them at Goodwill, but this particular one I got from a flea market. I painted it with Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel, and while it was still wet, I sprinkled it with cinnamon. And I used my wet sponge dabber there to just kind of press that cinnamon into the wet paint. And now I am dabbing on some Mod Podge just to seal it so that that cinnamon does not chip off. I did the same process. I took the four spools on your right there and painted them with burnt umber, and then did a top coat of the Waverly Cashew, and then used my sander to the left there and sanded off some of the paint to give them a chipped paint look. And now I am using the Behr antique wax, and I gave a coat all the way around the box, concentrating heavily on the edges to give it, just to grunge it up and dirty it up a little bit. And now I'm using the Distress Oxide. Again, the color is charcoal. And my makeup brush I got from Dollar Tree. And I'm just getting the corners and all of the edges with that to age it a bit more. And now I'm hot gluing those spools onto the bottom. Those are our legs. You can see how nicely that crackled. Oh yes, I also crackled the back of the lid as well, as you can see there. And now I'm just using E6000 glue as well as hot glue to adhere that to the back of the box. And I used a tape measure there to make sure that the lid was on there even, and then clamped it just to keep it in place so it didn't slip until the glue dries. And now I'm just hot gluing some floral foam. Some of it I got from Dollar Tree, some of it I got from Goodwill. This is some Excelsior that I got from Goodwill that I'm hot gluing on top of the foam. And this is a little vine wreath that I picked up a whole bag of them at Goodwill. But I'm sure you could find them on Amazon or Hobby Lobby or any of those crafty places. And these flowers, this is a bouquet of flowers that I ordered from Temu. I really love Temu's flowers. Very inexpensive but high quality flowers. And I'm just poking them into the floral foam all the way around that vine wreath. Now that vine wreath, if you noticed, when I hot glued it into place, I pulled some of that Excelsior up through in the center there, and I'm making a bird's nest out of that. So these are little wooden eggs that I found on Amazon, I believe, and I'm painting them with Waverly Ivory chalk paint. And I picked 5 of them. And then once dry, I'm using a little bead tool. It's got 2 round balls, a larger one on one end and a smaller one on the other. You have to excuse me, I have a cold. And I'm using Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel. And I'm just kind of dipping the smaller ball of that tool into the burnt umber, and I'm giving it little spots on the eggs. And then I'm using, once those spots were dry, I'm using, again, the finishing wax just to dirty them up a bit. And now I just hot glued a bird into place, and I ordered this bird also on Amazon. And now I'm hot gluing each of the eggs into place once I figured out where I wanted to put them. And I was just checking to see if the back was dry yet. And now I'm just using the Excelsior as a filler, and I'm just filling in any gaps that looked a little empty. And then you just play with your flowers and fluff them up until you like how they look. And here is our finished craft. I think it turned out so cute. The bird in the background, it was hidden a bit by the flowers. You do have to be careful of that. So that was some of all that moving those flowers around, was trying to position them so that you can still see the bird in the background, because they were standing up a little bit too high. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching.